Now, Snapper was named Wellington's fastest growing technology business in the 2012 Deloitte Fast 50 Awards. Please put your hands together for Miki Szikszai. He can tell you about it.
Okay, so thank you for the introduction and also for the wonderful presentation and pronunciation, Wallace. Most people get that wrong. And I really want to talk to you today a little bit about love. Snapper is really, at its heart, a love story. And I want to show you some pictures because love stories just aren't the same without some photos. So the first set of pictures I want to show you, these are my parents. They would be delighted to know that they're in a presentation tonight. My mum's looking very hipsterish. I wish she still had that jacket. There is a kid in what looks to be like a homespun green jersey, possibly from Greyland. Don't know if that's yours, Wallace. And my dad. So the love story around Wellington here is my dad came out to Wellington in 1956 as a refugee from Hungary. So after the revolution, he had to escape after his friends started disappearing. Not a nice place to be. My mum came here when she was about 2. She was orphaned in World War II. Basically, the Russians came through. They decided they didn't want to have any academics left in Warsaw. Her father was executed, and she was put on a boat with 700 other people. And New Zealand was good enough to take them in. And of course, they flattered around the corner from each other in Mount Victoria. Apparently, the Hungarians used to have awesome parties, according to my mum, and that is how they got together. And I think that, I mean, their background actually taught me a lot, and if there's one thing it taught me is that it doesn't actually matter where you're from, what your skills are, or where you end up. It's what you've got inside you, it's what you've got beside you that helps you be who you need to be. And it helps you overcome things which are seemingly impossible. For my parents, impossible was just the starting point, you know, being on the other side of the world. So I learned from a very early age that there's actually no such thing as no, there's no such thing as can't, but there is such a thing as try harder and do it yourself. And what that has led us to, when you start looking at what we've done with Snapper, is the sense of actually really trying to understand what it takes for customers to love what you do. And because everyone's after that, right? Wouldn't it be great if customers loved your company? But the best way to do that is to love your customers first. Try and work out what it is they actually want, what are the little problems they need to have solved, and how do you put yourself in a position where you can help them. And then the money comes later. Money's never at the start, it's always at the end. And our business is built on this very simple idea. How do you make everyday things easier? How do you make it easier for someone to get from A to B? How do you make it easier for someone to buy a Moro bar? How do you make it easier to pay for your parking? And if you get that right, what you get is this kind of stuff. This is something that was tweeted a few months ago from a Xero staff member who was just saying, you know, Xero plus Snapper equals love. And the reason for that is for Xero, we have done something pretty special for them. We've enabled their Snapper cards. They can get into their building. They can buy their coffee when they're having that very short break that Sam and his team allow them to when they're not building the world's most beautiful accounting software. But it's just, again, we've just removed a little bit of friction in their life. And something like this, you know, really does it for us. It makes us glow. So I want to talk about 2 specific things that we've been able to do in Wellington that we really couldn't do anywhere else. One of them is mobile. We had this great idea about 3 years ago, which was pretty much, wouldn't it be awesome if you could use your phone to pay for stuff instead of using a card? I mean, the card's cool, you know, 250,000 of them, can't be wrong, but we thought actually one day the card's going to go. And we thought, well, actually, we can make this happen here in Wellington. Why? Because Wellingtonians love trying things. They love experimenting with things, and we knew that actually they'd give this a chance. So we worked with 2 Degrees to come up with what we think is basically the world's first mobile payment system. You can download an app, put it on your phone, use your phone to pay for public transport, for retail, for taxis, and now for parking. And again, the whole point of this was actually around how do you make the simple stuff easy. And this is the kind of reaction we get from our customers. And this is where digital matters for us. This actually connects with our digital strategy, is that on Twitter, this is where we're listening to customers, where we're trying to understand what they're talking about. You know, the first one's kind of, you know, pretty basic, officially my favourite thing about today, but the next one's my favourite. You know, feeling ultra badass and futuristic every time I use my phone as a snapper. Thanks. You go, and that's actually what the team love. They love getting that feedback. And they love being able to stamp their mark on the city as well, working with partners, trying to basically tell people, actually, there's some pretty cool stuff happening in Wellington. So the next thing we've done really recently as well is we've put Snapper on every single parking meter in the city. And you know, that's a short sentence, but it actually takes quite a lot of work, and it takes quite a lot of work working with the city for a start. So we couldn't have done this without a great relationship with the Wellington City Council. I mean, they're the ones who own those on-street meters. They're the ones who basically co-invested with us to make that happen. And we couldn't have really made this work without thinking, actually, what are we trying to do for customers here? And the thing we're trying to do for customers is really simple. We're just trying to remove a little bit of pain, because parking is hard. Finding a park is hard. Putting your car into it is hard, even for me. Paying is a complete pain in the ass. So when you get to the point of saying, actually, we can solve a little problem and take some pain away, that's when we know we've got something that's working. And again, this is what customers tell us. You know, you think about this person who's put this comment up. They've basically got shopping in one arm, child in another, and they're supposed to be able to pay for their parking. And this guy, because he's a guy, because he's not, clearly if he was a woman, he'd be able to multitask. But he's worked out that actually this is easier, and it solved a little point of pain for him today. And that's why we think this is actually about love, because love is about sweating the details. It's about trying to work out how do you make someone's life a little better, and it's about trying to do that locally. You know, we are so blessed to be working in a city where we've got a bunch of people who actually let us have the chance to solve their problems. And we're also really lucky that we're living in a digital age where I don't have to photocopy myself. I can use all of the digital tools at my disposal, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, whether it's our blog, to basically listen to customers, to really, really hear what they want to have solved, and then to find ways to make that happen for them. And so I think, you know, it's great. I think that we've got another tool that's actually joining the toolkit for us, which is Localist. And I thank Christina and the team for giving us the opportunity to speak tonight, but actually, more importantly, giving us another tool that we can talk to all of our customers with, and just keep on working on that love story that we're trying to generate here in Wellington. So thanks very much.